So, my name is Marcus White, and over the last 5 to 6 years, I've gone heavily involved in digital dentistry, and through all the things that have been happening right now, my moment has come, and a lot of things that I've been talking about for quite a while, we've been forced to embrace. So I'm going to give you a little mild bit of background on me, and then get into the thick of it. Okay. So I've got a practice in Yorkshire called the Courtyard. We accidentally built a digital lab once we started getting involved with intraoral scanning, and that then led me into speaking and lecturing and webinaring, which is what we do now. So today we're going to be talking about looking towards the future with virtual and digital dentistry. Got some aims and objectives for you. We're going to make evident the importance of separating the clinical from the non-clinical in the post-COVID world. We're going to demonstrate that digital tools are key to effectively executing non-clinical processes remotely. We're going to showcase 2 game-changing workflows, which will make the way we carry out our profession post-COVID world more efficient and more profitable. And those 2 key processes are the virtual consultation and the digital checkup. All right. Now I'm just going to do a little technical thing. I'm going to move this question panel because it's always completely over the top of what I'm looking at. There we go. Right, a little bit more CV for you. So that is what I look like. Seems you can't see my webcam, but like I say, you're not missing much. Don't worry about it. So that's just going to give you a little visual CV here. That's me doing some of my courses at my practice. That's me with the Right Honourable Chris Barrow, who I've been working with recently. And that's an ITERO that I speak for. Then we've got me and the famous Suki Singh up in the top, Paul Tipton, and just a couple of things I go to speak at. Most recently, I got to speak about digital. Well, I got to write an article on digital for the Parliamentary Review for the 2nd time, particularly on digital record keeping. So a message that you should see woven through this chat today, but any aspect of your treatment or communications that you digitally, you accidentally leave a nice digital footprint, which is a record keeping for yourself. Okay. Even today's webinar is recorded, but you'll see many times why, if we're doing something digitally, it increases compliance and increases your digital protection. So I'm also an opinion leader and speaker for SmileMate and Dental Monitoring, who will also come up in this chat today. That's just me bumping into that Christian Coachman. He was just asking me a few tips on things. He's always bothering me for how to do digital, and that's a joke. And Invisalign, I speak for, and I place some implants. So that's a little background. Today, I hope to really get you excited and get you to actually implement some of this stuff. So there's some high concept stuff that I want you to furiously scribble with your pencils, but it will hopefully leave you wanting more. And I did carry out courses. Now I'm guessing it's going to be lots of webinars, but it's on 4 modules, which are effectively the consultation with scanning, the Invisalign treatment, how to make that really efficient and digital, restorative and veneer treatment, and implants. A couple of stats here. In the 5 years that we've been working with digital, our revenue's doubled, and the most interesting part of that is that our staff has not. So everything that we're doing now is that much more efficient. In one particular year, we saw a revenue grow by 33%, solely as a use of using ITERO in the consultation. I'm going to give you paint a little picture of my practice. This little video is called Digital is Here. Hope you enjoy it. It's just a normal Friday at the Courtyard. The picture we hope to paint is how the digital tech we have literally acts like a seam through all of our treatments, how it's helpful to inform patients on different options so that they don't just have to imagine an outcome, but they see it on screen. So then they can have real consent about which direction they choose to go.
My name is Eve. I will be seeing a new patient, Ashley, today for her initial consultation.
I'd like to change the shape of some of my teeth and get them a bit whiter.
And we're going to take some digital scans and we're just going to have a look at her teeth together and come up with some solutions to improve her smile.
And really what we're trying to show is how easy digital makes what we do, how efficient it makes us. If you do not keep up with this technology as a dentist, then you're leaving your patients in a worse position, and you're probably leaving yourself in a worse position. So just look at this particular site here, and how the digital design is going to help guide our treatment. The amount of line that we need to increase to get these teeth over. Black and white words are no longer enough to record that you gave patient options, because how could they visualize those options? How could they know what they were going to look like and how you were going to deliver it? We tried once when we first built our digital lab to be only digital and not have any humans, and could we just mill a final veneer and place it, and we found we could also. We need Bernard, who's got 35 years of experience of layering, pure artistry onto digital design, so that you get that perfect blend. You replicate what the patient's approved, but then you add a finish that's bespoke.
Yeah, it's mixing the new technology in many respects with the old. It's always evolving, and you have to go with the changes. But digitally is certainly the way forward. I mean, for the dentists, it's great because they're only taking scans and not having to take impressions like they used to in the olden days.
Just think of the data that we're taking here that's over and above that, which an impression can take. So, as well as the increased accuracy, we're effectively filming every key step of the dental process as a record. At the centre of it all is a person who's got a backstory, who's got a reason they're here in the first place, and that will become part of the picture. And you see the impact that all of these things has on the individual.
I was really conscious of how things looked. My partner had his done here and they're absolutely wonderful. So he retired and I got mine done.
Can you see how we've opened up the bite? So on the before, this really deep bite, didn't see any of the lower teeth whatsoever.
I absolutely love it. But I have to learn how to smile properly now. Love them.
Everyone asks, is digital the future? No, it's not. It's the present. It's not something that's coming. It's not something that's yet to be invented. It's already here. It's in that corner. And we live and breathe it in every aspect of treatment we do. So if you're not currently doing it, then you're being left behind. You're being left in the past. So, if you want to get your phones and take a photo of that, this does come up at the end again, but there will be things you want to ask me, and I wholeheartedly encourage it. So we've got my YouTube channel at the top, website, email, Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Screenshot that, and then you can, if we don't get to answer your question at the end, you can by all means pepper me with more later. Okay, but now let's crack on. So the first concept is that of digital distillation, which is the separation of existing processes into those that are face-to-face clinical and those that could be completed digitally, virtually, and remotely. So pre-COVID, everything we did would just happen in our building. So we want to chat to a patient, happens in the building. We want them to book an appointment, same thing. Okay, we want to sign some consents or some written estimates, happens in our building. Not anymore. So what I've become very good at is looking at an existing dental process and separating out the different parts of it. And in case you've not already clicked, because PPE and time and space are going to be so valuable when we return to work, the separation of anything that doesn't have to happen in that building to happen somewhere else and before the patient attends is not only efficient, but it's clean, reduces social distance, problems. So that's why we're digitally distilling everything. So let me have a look at that. So it means every process that we currently do gets re-examined and redesigned. Each dental process can now be assessed through the lens of filtering out those components that can be completed off-site by virtual and digital means. The initial consultation and validation of new patients, that's going to be the first chunk we talk about. Explain those terms. The examination and triage of existing patients, which we'll be calling digital triage. And also the consent, booking and payment of all dental treatments. Basically, all admin that used to happen in your building should not and should be done in advance. And one of the messages I like to quote is pre is key moving forward. Okay, let's plan before the patient gets there. Let's not do these ad hoc things that we used to do. So here's that division I'm talking about. So it's the division of preclinical and clinical, virtual and face-to-face, clean versus dirty, non-AGP versus AGP. So that's what your brain should be thinking about, all the things you used to do before the lockdown, digital and analog. So I'm going to walk you through the virtual consultation workflow. I'm going to show you a lot of tools you may or may not have seen before. You're going to have plenty of other questions afterwards, and you're going to write down the names of some of these tools, and you're going to have some homework in terms of Googling them and getting registered if you want to do what we're showing you here. So let me be clear, this is more than just a Zoom meeting, all right? It's a complete end-to-end system to complete all non-clinical aspects of a consultation process to create a validated patient. What is a validated patient? So a validated patient is a true customer who wants one of your treatments and can afford it. In the pre-COVID world, carrying out a full clinical and radiographic examination on a new unvalidated patient was costly and wasteful. So that's what we used to do often. You know, patient comes in, wants to know about implants, you do your big checkup, you do a BPE, you do loads of radiographs, CBCT, you spend an hour writing up loads of notes, and then they say they didn't want it anyway, or they couldn't afford it anyway, or you send a big report in the post, but they couldn't afford it anyway. So that was stupid and wasteful, but now it's also unsafe, which I think my next slide. Right now, it's also unsafe and inadvisable. So you should only be getting a patient into your practice once you've established a few things. You must validate your new patients before any clinical aspects are added to the workflow. So I'm going to continue to paint this picture. This first little video here is the workflow in patient speak, and then we're going to do it in dental speak afterwards. Hi guys, it's Marcus here from the Courtyard. I'm going to talk to you about how we managed to consult our patients virtually during the lockdown. Let's begin. First, get in touch by Insta, email or WhatsApp. Then click the SmileMate link in one of our tabs and upload 5 photos of your teeth. That allows me to assess your teeth and advise on the best treatment for you. You'll get back a SmileMate report advising what treatment would suit you best and the monthly cost on our 0% finance over 24 months. Simply ask questions directly on Insta or WhatsApp, and we'll have a chat so we can let us know if you're keen on moving forward. If you are interested in financing your treatment, we can send you a finance link straight to your phone so you can pre-approve your finances. We then send you an info pack to sign to make sure you know everything about the treatment. Finally, we set up a video consult to let you meet the dentist and ask any questions. Now we're ready to book you in. So please, just click on the links, get in touch. We look forward to talking about your treatment. So there you have it. That's it spelled out for the patients. So first thing I'm going to show you here is a little glimpse of SmileMate. So patient emails, Instagrams, our first response to that now, even if they're asking about costs or anything, and I'll show you in a bit more how we do it, but we ask for them to click on our SmileMate link, which is an app I'm going to introduce to you, whereby dental photography that they take is uploaded securely to us so we can start triaging the problem and talking with accuracy about the things they may want. So you could just do it, ask them to send you some photos on Instagram if that's how you're conversing, or on WhatsApp. But SmileMate is a dedicated platform for this, okay? And it's got AI built in, as I will show you later. So we've now been doing this across the board on all our new inquiries, which have still been thick and fast because the millennials haven't really noticed anything. They've just been making more barbecues and what have you. So they've just been worried about their teeth more. So so this kind of workflow is absolutely perfect for Invisalign and composite bonding, which is, you know, a great growth sector right now, as we know. But that isn't to say you couldn't help assess for implants and routine care too. You know, if there were missing teeth in the quadrant you're looking at here, then I would be able to talk about what those costs might provisionally be. On that note, this isn't for you to treatment plan fully. You're not getting an exact price for patients all of the time, okay? If it's Invisalign, I can give an exact price, but it's just about beginning a process where you can validate the patient and assess their affordability, okay? So basically at this stage is what I call the first yes, because the 2 yeses you want are 1, yes, they want one of your treatments, and 2, they can afford it. Plenty times you might give some treatment options in a lengthy consult I've described earlier. Patient decides they don't want it. No, maybe they don't like you, maybe they don't like what you're offering, doesn't matter, but it's a no. And the second one is yes, they do want it, but when it comes to it, they can't afford it. So establishing those 2 things is very key. Here's just some photos sent without SmileMate, which are still adequate enough for me to state that you know, he's got a composite knees fixing upper right one, and he's got some misalignment. We can talk about Invisalign and composite bonding. So after we've done that, and I can, in my report that I send back, which I'll show you shortly, we talk about costs. We then invite them to say, if you're happy in what we discussed, do you want to explore finance options? Because then we can get a second yes, okay, and find out if they can afford the treatment. We're not processing the finance, we're not getting the money, but we're effectively letting them apply for finance to see if it's accepted. And we've been doing that over the lockdown, and we've got a number of patients green lit, ready to go with other parts of the process you'll see me do in a moment. Now, I think COVID's made us all modernize, yeah? The things, it's made us all become the practice we may have been in 2025. So I don't know your level of whether you have finance in your practice, but trust me, patients like it. Trust me, the millennials like it. So most investment over £1,000 in any sector comes with finance options and monthly payments. And I'm encouraging you to make it your business default setting. Because if it was your business default setting, then this is just what happens to all our patients. And we you know, and then the finance link, this option is a proper green light they have to pass through before we move forward to the next stage. So you just send a finance link very easily by text or email. I've been doing it from home, and it allows patients to confirm their affordability before either party commits more time to the process. Here's just a little video of a finance calculator. By the way, I'm well aware of Medenta being an excellent finance provider, and we have worked with them as well. We work in conjunction with them and the company you see on screen now. They're both amazing. So yeah. There's the dual plug for you. So all I'm doing here is plugging in some numbers, getting out the monthlies, so I can show them to the patient. So that's the finance bit done. So we've got 2 yeses now. So now we move on to consent, and you'll see that in my workflow, the video consult actually happens a little later, and you'll see why. So a big problem that we had to overcome during the lockdown was the consent one, because I hated paper consent anyway. So, you know, the whole process of giving someone a clipboard with a pen that you printed, then they sign, and then you scan, and then you shred. Oh, what a lengthy process, you know. And I have to have staff currently shredding my stuff at work. It just kills me. Compared to digital, which literally has none of that process, is so easy to do. So we just needed the right kind of company to do it. So some of you may have encountered DocuSign. They're involved. Their biggest, one of the biggest clients globally is Santander Bank. That legal firms use them routinely. I've signed for flats with DocuSign. So it's good enough for those. It's good enough for us. So all you do is take your existing consent documents, turn them into a PDF, import it into here, and then you kind of stick on these digital fields for the signatures to go. If you send them out to your patient 7 days before an appointment, for example, they'll get prompted every 2 days to fill it in if they don't. In the folders here, there's a folder of completed ones and a folder of incomplete, so you know who to badger. It's just a beautiful thing. And those of some dentists who watched this talk already are already in love with DocuSign, because it just fixes so many problems that they had before. So just going to play you an American video that tells you a little bit more about it.
Step into the agreement cloud. Agreements are everywhere. From 100-page contracts to one-click consents, business runs on agreements. But in a world gone digital, old-school agreements make things needlessly hard and slow for everyone involved. It's time to agree better. With the Agreement Cloud, you can get agreements done faster, friendlier, and at less cost. Prepare an agreement with just a few clicks. Automatically include all the right data from your other systems, and allow users to customize the contract according to customer needs. Send, track, and sign agreements from practically anywhere, at any time, using the world's #1 e-signature app. Act on completed agreements automatically. Collect payments, update other systems, trigger downstream processes, and more. Manage agreements in a safe, smart way, with a single secure place to store and search agreements, and use AI tools to identify hidden opportunities and risks. By automating how you agree, you can do business faster, greener, with less risk and lower costs. And you can make things easier for you, your employees, your customers, and your customers' customers. Let's agree better. Together. DocuSign Agreement Cloud.
So guys, a couple of questions I normally get asked at that point. So by the way, yeah, we've been testing it. It's brilliant. Had a patient we had to see recently for an acute thing. So I sent out our new COVID risk assessment to her via this format, and she was downstairs filling it in on her phone. I emailed it to her. She was doing it on her phone, and then as soon as it was finished, we got a ping in our inbox telling us it was back, and then we went down to bring her to surgery. It's gonna be a beautiful thing. A question we normally get asked is, can you incorporate those files, those consent forms, into your software of excellence package, into your software package? The answer is yes, you can download it, but you're just adding another part to the process. And what I'd encourage you all to do is realize that you don't have to glue every part of a clinical record inside the software package. Okay, so later in this, we're going to be looking at iTero scans. You can't stick them on, so it's not essential. As long as it's safe, secure, you know where it is, central location, and that's the place you're going to look to find these documents if you ever need to, that's enough. So, video consults, what's the purpose? Is to put the rapport bit in, okay? So you've already got so far in the process, the patient already wants the treatment, they've now been consented, they've been financially approved. Now they're going to make sure they like you, before you get to the point where you're actually treating them. So it's time to do that. It's time to season the digital process with a bit of humanity and to make friends. And hopefully then at the end of that, they will trust, like, and respect you. So I'm going to show you two video platforms that I've been using. One is Zoom and one's a dental monitoring product. What you'll see cool about the dental monitoring one is you can personalize it with photos of your practice. So we'll come on to that now. So have a look at this. Hi guys, just showing you the dental monitoring video consulting platform here. So one of the cool bits is that you can edit the domain name here to make it look like yours, so it looks a bit personalized, which is I like. That's the link you paste. And the coolest bit, which I'll show you in another video in a minute, is that you can edit what the patient sees in their digital waiting room. So here's a picture of my reception I've put in. Here's a couple of messages you can put in about how much you can achieve with a digital consult. Here's our waiting lounge. And here's just a picture of me and one of our nice patients. So they get a good feel for the place over and above that which you could achieve with Zoom. And I think that's an advantage. Hi everyone. So I'm here with my camera crew. I've got William on filming, he's 7. And I've got Charlie, who's ready for an Invisalign consult on the right. Okay, we're going to show you how easy this video consult platform is on dental monitoring. Okay, so come over here. Look at the screen, not too close, that's lovely. So I'm just going to do this invite via text message, and I'm going to send a little link to my own phone. Just watch how quickly that little thing sends at the bottom. Tick, blue. Right, let's go to Charlie, see what's happened on his phone. Whoa, you two quick cheers. He's just gone to his text message. Here, down here, I'll take over. Right, stop for a minute. Yeah, we're good. So put your name in, Charlie. We're all right here. Check in, and now stay on the screen.
Yeah, this is our first one.
Okay, so slowly scroll here. So welcome to your virtual consult in the courtyard. I will start the video call in a moment. With access to high quality photographs of your teeth and a digital face-to-face conversation about your needs, you'll be surprised how much we can accomplish before you ever attend our beautiful practice. If you are making this video call on iPhone, please make sure you change privacy settings. There's me and my friendly team, and down the bottom, that's it. So that's the waiting room. Now go back up. I think you're still waiting for me. So over on mine, what happens is I've got a little indication that says my mate Charlie is ready for his Invisalign consult. Okay, so I then just do start call, bing, and now back to William's going to film us having a really good Invisalign consult here. So film the screen here. Okay, right, we're going to get some echo. That's just the way it is. But so Charlie, nice to meet you. Can you tell me a little bit about what treatment you're looking for?
I know it's lockdown. I really need to Invisalign as soon as possible.
Well, that's fantastic, because with our new virtual consult tools, we are able to deliver that to you and get you ready for treatment. So let's have a chat about what you need. Thank you very much, Charlie. So yeah, that's that. Now, the other bit about your video consult, which may break your head a little bit, but I'm recording mine, okay? Even before lockdown, I was starting to audio record my consults, which is a bit of a, people are like, oh, not sure I'm comfortable with that. But what I want you to think about is that the last time you called to speak about car insurance or something like that, the first sentence they literally ask you is, your call will be recorded for training and monitoring purposes, okay? And that's car insurance. Now, do you think what we do is more important than car insurance? Because I do. And I know that the litigation in our industry is higher than it is in car insurance phone calls. So hence, all right. Now, as I'm saying, you got the video recording here on the consult. All you need to say at the start is, do you mind if our consult's recorded for training and monitoring purposes? Yes, no. It's recorded what their answer was. If they say no, you stop. But that isn't normal, because everyone says yes when they hear the words training and monitoring purposes. And then you also back that up by saying it becomes part of your medical legal record and you can access it anytime if you want to, which is true. That aside, the compliance bit aside, which I still love, the other bit here you'll see is that in my video consult, I am not in a white coat like in the videos that you see promoting this. This is me now being human and accessible, but also saying the right thing. So we're just going to watch a couple of minutes of that to show you what that feels like. So it's only my like third one of these video console ones, so I'm still trying to it's weird because I know I'm just in my kid's spare room, you know what I mean? So I have to I'm going to try and project myself I was in practice and ask all the questions I would then. Yeah, the other thing that's different about this is we've done downstairs in the magazine rack. The other thing is that by the time we get into these video consults, patients are actually a lot more, because you've had the consent docs and we've done quite a lot of chatting and all that. So it's weird, but you should probably know 90% of the stuff already anyway. Yeah. But what I'm going to do today is kind of follow my script as if I was in my surgery, and then
Yeah, that's fine.
So the first thing I ask if you were to actually attend is, even though I've seen your teeth and we've had a chat, tell me in your own words how we can help.
Well, I really, yeah, to be honest, I've never ever thought of myself as having a problem with my teeth. I always thought they were quite nice until I noticed that when I just did some photos, this kind of one has started to move and has become a bit squint, and now I can't not see it. Every time I look in the mirror, I focus on this. So it's just.
So you get the idea. It's like compliance gold. It's capturing her emotional reason for attending, and obviously then we go through all of, I will go repeat the things like IPR and attachments and anything I feel is super important for consent, and it's recorded that. So another leap forward, okay, in what you consider to be normal. I covered this really, covered that. So just to recap, preclinical dental assessment of seeing some teeth before you ever see them with some photos. Discussion of pricing, confirming affordability, achieving consent, video consult. Then you have a validated patient. Now that patient is allowed to your practice for the clinical parts of the process. I'm going to quickly go through some of the digital toolbox I have. SmileMate you've seen a bit of, and we're going to see some more. Dental monitoring you're going to see more of later. Video consult platform you've seen. Zoom you're going to see later. Team Viewer, that's how I log in to write my notes. Smile View, not today, but again, write it down if you want to know more. Instant DSDs. And Instagram, obviously, you know about. And DocuSign we covered. So a bit more on SmileMate. I'll skip these videos. That's my son, it's a fact. This is my son actually taking pictures of my teeth. This is what the photos look like with a 9-year-old taking it. Okay, good, right? So if I want to assess someone else who I've never met before's teeth, pre-assess, I'm going to do a reasonable job with that. You can even see my recession defect here, and you can even see my sandwich here. Sorry about that, if it's brunch time. Here's how I send the link to prospective patients. Oh, sorry. Let's go. So someone wants to talk to us about composite bonding. I get my template out of my notes field and text it in, change the name to protect the innocent, and there's the link to SmileMate, which is just like a generic link you'll be given if you sign up, and it even pre-populates it with a pretty picture you'll see in a minute. So I give them an indicative costs and send the SmileMate and say, you know, you have to take 5 pictures of your teeth so I can assess you better. That acts as a good filter in itself. If someone can't be bothered taking 5 pictures of their teeth, then they're probably not interested in the treatment, really. They're just a bit bored on the sofa. So it's really useful to have that as a filter. Okay, so these are the photos you get back in that format. So you get the 5, you can click on them all, zoom in and everything, and they're just retracted pictures, but they start, like I say, they start showing that you're taking this seriously. This is, right guys, so let me show you how cool this is. So this is the dashboard inside SmileMate. It's branded for you, and this is a patient we're going to look at. This same girl that we've seen do the video consult with, this is the first contact we had with her. So go to see photos, and we see that they are amazing. Transpired she's got an iPhone 11 Max Pro, awesome, but that is like amazing. But then you can rattle through the others as well. And this patient's obviously interested in Invisalign, and we're very much able to decide convincingly that she'll be an Invisalign Lite package, and therefore can price her up accordingly. So some fantastic compliance, medical legal records, preclinical records, all good. Now, there's AI in this that notices things. So it notices she's got a lower overjet, it notices she's got an overbite, it notices she's got upper crowding and very mild lower. If we click to that section, it advises the patient in the report that you send her about that, and even cross-references with her own dentition. And if you go to treatment options, it'll teach her about aligners. All of this stuff's editable, but the stuff that's already in it is awesome. I haven't messed with any of this. Mind blown, right? So we're reaching a halfway point. Oh, perfect, good. Questions will probably be on the dot of noon, but we're moving on to the second part. So that was what you can be doing while you're in lockdown to get yourself busy for when you reopen, and it's making sure the concept is don't have patients in your practice unless they're serious, and this is how to find that out. But this one is the one that I think fits so well with the fact that you're all practice plan customers, because you've got a lot of people on membership that come for checkup and hygiene, and I'm going to talk to you about a potential different way we can see and treat those that has some distinct advantages. So before I do that, I'm going to show you some tools that you can get if you don't have to allow you to do this. One is a scanner, but you may not all have scanners. But if you do some of them, you might not be using them as much as you should. And the other is dental monitoring. Let me introduce you.
Ready to start scanning? Let's go. Standing in front of a mirror, start by inserting your retractor, one side first, then the other, with the arch down under your chin. Bring the scan box up to the retractor. You'll hear a click as the scan box snaps into position. During the scan, audio and visual instructions will tell you what to do with your teeth. Bite down on your back teeth. When you hear this, bite down and keep your teeth together. It may help to swallow as you bite down. Open your mouth slightly and keep your teeth apart. When you hear this, open up and keep your teeth about a finger's width apart. Open as wide as you can.
So that's how it works. So you saw the photos my child took before, just with imagine having it on a box that helps, support it and whatever. The photos are not unsurprisingly amazing. Right then, so let's have a little look at dental monitoring now. So we've got about 80 patients in aligners being monitored by DM. You get a scan box, you've seen, you get the retractor, and you get the app. So the quality of photography is the highest you can possibly get because of all that. So let's have a little look. I won't go into too much detail on what you're looking at here in today's session. Suffice to say that I'm comparing 20th September 2019 with 5th of May 2020, so 6 months of aligner wear. And then you bring it up with that level of clarity. And now when I flick on, I'm going to go straight to today. Okay. So each view is compared with its same view, so to speak. So you can see here the level of intrusion and alignment we've been achieving on the lowers, and again some intrusion and alignment on the uppers as well. So really getting a nice neat look there. But we can pick a different time point if we want to, and we can have a look with aligners in if we want to. There we go. Let's have a look at that one. So back in whenever that was. And today. So that's dental monitoring. So the idea is what I'm trying to show you. Let me just play you this, and then it'll start to piece together what I'm suggesting. Hi Anna, how are you?
Hi there, how are you?
I'm all good. So sorry to hear about this tooth of yours. So in advance of this call, I've brought up your digital scans, which we had on record from when we saw you at the start of the year. So tell me which tooth it is that's got the issue, and tell me what's happened.
Well, I've broken a tooth on my top right hand side. It's been painful for a little while when I've been chewing hard foods. Intermittently, it suddenly got worse, and then on weekend I was eating something and I heard a crack and the back of the tooth broke, and now it's been quite sensitive when I've been eating and drinking hot and cold things.
Okay, got it. So looking at this one here, which tooth is it from? If you're counting from the back, can you tell me which one it is?
It seems to be the one just in front of the back tooth.
Got it. Yeah. So let's have a really close look at that now together. Okay, perfect. So what we see up here, looking at this quadrant as we call it, we got 4 teeth there, white filling in the one behind it, white filling in the one in front, and then a crown. Over the years, you've had a sort of an array of either white fillings or crowns, and this is actually one of the last ones to be done. So as you probably know, metal fillings are stronger than teeth, so over a period of time it can cause those forces to impart, to cause a fracture, which basically sounds like what has happened. Your symptoms concurrent with that. I'm going to show you the second half later where we go into treatment plan, but where we're going here is digital triage to properly treatment plan your patients as part of the checkup process remotely. So if you scan everybody into a scanner you have, brilliant. If not, you can use your digital dental monitoring to give them a scanner, to give them a retractor, which costs £3, and then bring that data in for assessment before you get them in. So that's the concept we're coming up with. Park that. So look, let's have a little look at what the typical elements. So what we're doing here is digitally distilling the checkup process, which no one's ever done for 100 years. We just did it all the same. Someone comes in, someone looks at them, and someone cleans them. Well, let's have a look at those 4 components really. So we've got a 10-minute checkup. we got a 10-minute checkup in 6 months, and we've got 2 hygiene sessions. And that's basically what their membership pays for, right? So what if we rejoggled them a little bit for some good reasons? So let's just say instead we skip the one in 6 months. We put them on an annual recall plan, but we move that 10 minutes to the front. We front load it, okay? And what for? So we can take some intraoral scans or give them dental monitoring and do that. But what we're trying to do, we're also going to take the time to explain the new world to them and why we're doing this. And why we're doing this is to reduce attendance from a transference point of view and a social distancing point of view, and fundamentally because they don't need to be there for us to assess the problem. They're still going to see the hygienist on that day, but they don't need to see the dentist because you've prescribed a recall period that is still appropriate. So a digital review will happen in 6 months, and I'll explain all in more detail. All right. So the idea is you just move in that 10 minutes to the front of the pack. Okay. And when we go back, as I'm going to say later, we've got a rare opportunity to rebuild our practice in a way we want to, that we probably never had before. So if this was something that does make sense, this is the only time you're probably going to be able to do it. So same investment of time, just structured differently. Okay. But what we're going to do at our practice, well, we believe that the hand scale is now going to take 30 minutes. Okay. So we're going to have to invest a bit more time there. And while we're doing that, if they're going to see the hygienist for 30 minutes, they might as well see us for 30 minutes. So we've accepted it's going to take a little longer, but the patients have been good to us. Okay. So it's time to invest a bit back. So what has digital taught us is that if we invest in digital data and systems, it will pay dividends later. I proved that at the start. I've seen it. So it increases communication and profitability. So what I'm saying to you is, in one way or another, with either of those 2 tools, upload your entire patient database so that you can digitally triage remotely when any issue happens. And what are the benefits of that? Let's have a look. So really, you're adding the value of a free consultation to every one of your patients who's built your practice, who stayed loyal during the lockdown. Okay. Financially, it's not really that damaging. And where might that investment really go? So it's going to enable true digital triage. It's going to enable better and more comprehensive treatment planning of your existing patient base. And it is a free consult for your patients, okay? So there's a high likelihood you'll uncover cosmetic treatment need or others. At our practice, we're pulling the checkups back to the practice partners. Interesting, okay? But I think, again, I want to get the message to them. There's going to be a lot of education and information these patients need when they return to us. And I think that's a job for us. So, it isn't just business as usual at all. If you need a filling, we're going to be covered in blue. So deciding what kind of filling you need is important. So big conversation to be had. In the future, hygienists, TCOs, nurses could also obviously be tasked in any of those digital uploads, be it the scanning or the dental monitoring. So as I've already outlined, I saw an increase in revenue of 33% when we scanned our new patients because they could see their own problems on screen and there was no hiding from it. What's going to happen if we do that for our existing 1,500 patients for very good COVID relevant reasons, but you might find they have a lot of unmet treatment need that they're going to talk to us about. And then year on year, you're really going to not need to do the 30 minutes. It'll just be back to a 20 minutes scan, review the scans as compared with the year on year, and then do the digital exam. So what's the digital exam in 6 months? Let me explain that one for you. I'll skip this bit. That's obvious. Oh, sorry, this one I like. This is me scanning. And then she's on me whether right. Yeah. So we'll start the midline, zip across, follow the lingual ridge, action tongues out where there's a go, and then back into the buckle. Just half close for your Russell. By doing the half close thing, patient will do retractable retract tissues and helps on our way back a little. Okay, that's done. Have a little look at the stopwatch for you.
43 seconds.
43 seconds. So we'll all know that alginate takes 3 minutes to set, so does putty. So it's closed. Thank you. But that data, look at the quality of it. Some occlusal heat map, very useful. So the point is, once you've got this data, okay, patients come in 6 months' time to see your hygienist. 7 days before, you're going to send out your COVID risk assessment email. You're going to ask them to tell you if they've had any issues, okay? Because what happens in the olden days or currently, they tell you the problem when they're already there. It's a bit late, you know? So no, I want pre is key. I want to know in advance, because if I know it in advance, just like the little video, which we're going to recap on in a minute, we can have a conversation, a proper conversation about how we should fix that tooth, not a knee-jerk, ad hoc, let's get it done quickly conversation. So there we go. 7 days before, COVID assessment goes out. Patient is prompted to let us know of any fractures or issues they've been having. This allows us to prepare and to treatment plan if needed and to offer one of two pathways. All right, we'll come back to that. Pathway 1, just a stabilisation. Yeah, okay, fractured a tooth. You can stay with the non-AGP, stay with the hygienist. She'll just pop a bit of GIC. Don't worry about it. But you have to treatment plan for that. You have to consent for that. So the appointment length may need amending, but no more AGP. Or restorative intervention under AGP is required. And in these instances, batching will become an underpinning philosophy. So, you know, we want longer appointments, but less of them. So following assessment, it may be advisable to carry out quadrant dentistry plus sonic scale and polish under the full AGP setting. So just going to skip to where that was, treatment planning. Okay, so those 3 categories of treatment are what we would call stabilisation. Yeah, so it's just sort of fix the problem, patch it over, and if you know. And what I've done here, by the way, any iTero scan you ever take is accessible through their portal. So you can pull it up on a laptop, which is what I did here. And then all I did was a screen share with Zoom and the patient so we could look at it together. These appointments will be happening, you know, after I finish my 6-hour clinical session. Then I'll just have a couple of calls when to get through these. So really nice and easy. It would solve the sensitivity, but it wouldn't necessarily fix things, so to speak.
Okay.
Beyond that, we'd also look to at least do a new filling for you. And usually, like on the tooth behind it here, let me just shift that about a little bit, we'd incorporate the bit that's broken. So we'd take out the rest of the silver filling, add this bit, and we're recording it. So this is, again, beautiful consent, robust pathways. Okay. See, I get excited by this, don't I? So what we're seeing is the division, again, of all of these things we've talked about. But there's one more thing I did want to point out, which I had thought about, which is impressions.
Impression disinfection in immersion process. Impressions and dental workpieces are usually contaminated with saliva and frequently contaminated with blood and secretion. The impressions must be cleaned and disinfected to prevent infection in laboratory and surgery personnel and in patients. The dimensional
everybody's been so worried about ever getting their drill out again. I don't think everyone's has thought past that as to impressions and how we're going to make them sterile. Obviously, we dunk them in some sort of stuff, but is that up to scratch? So the answer is that sending this clinical data off only involves a push of that envelope button. You know, so what I'm trying to point out is all of these things that look like you take, you know, the infection seriously and cross-infection seriously, all help the patient have faith in you. I'm not going to go through this other than to say that any digital always wins, trust me. Increases communication, efficiency, compliance, decreased storage, decreased cross-infection risk, increases the upskilling of your staff, and always increases profitability. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with this little video, and then we're going to open up the questions. That kid on the right is effectively COVID, okay, and that tower is your practice. Together, brighter than the strobe together, looking out for space. Together, no one's gonna stop us. Together, we can find a way. Together, looking at the... What are you going to build? What are you going to rebuild? All right, this may be the one opportunity in our lifetime to build the practice that we want to. Okay. So I hope you have a little think about what you're going to do. I'm going to leave that up for the snapshots, and I'm going to open up for questions. Right, Pippa or someone, tell me you're there and start fielding me questions, please.
Okay, yeah, we've got a few. The first one is, can DocuSign be incorporated into existing systems such as SOE?
Yeah, so that's the one I think I answered during. You can download any form that you receive back from a patient, and if you want to import it into SOE, you can. As previously stated, I will not be doing that. I see it as an additional process that's unnecessary. They're stored and safe in the cloud. You literally go in there and search for their name or put them in the right folder. There is no necessity to glue every part of a clinical record into your software package. Otherwise, there are going to be other areas that cannot meet that. So like I say, the digital color scans in Itero are obviously in their own cloud. I'm happy for DocuSign to be in their cloud and me to go to those places when I need to.
Okay. Does dental monitoring have secure encryption?
Yeah, the Doxy, the video platform is very, very secure, more secure than Zoom currently, although Zoom's obviously working on it. And yes, and then the other side was the photography itself is, yeah, it's password protected. And it just as a side note, in terms of iPhones and challenging the status quo, you know, most of you probably still taking clinical photographs with an SLR camera and saving it on a database in your office. That is not very secure. Anyone can steal that hard drive, okay? We take our clinical photographs on iPhones and they are saved in the cloud. And our, if someone wants those photos, they need either my face or my finger. And if we find that any of those phones have gone anywhere, then we would delete it remotely. So we need to start recognizing that the world is changing, and that it is all digital will always win. Okay, continue.
Is the preclinical consultation carried out by the dentist or TCO?
Currently during the lockdown, it's been me, but when we go back, my TCO team will be trained in how to do it.
How do you get trained to implement this process in your practice, and how long does it take?
Ooh, it doesn't take long. I mean, I've been teaching one of my associates baby steps. I taught her how to just send the SmileMate link to begin with, then I taught her how to do the SmileMate reports, then I taught her how to send a finance link, and then I taught her how to use DocuSign. So yeah, shouldn't take too long. Just each step in bits. I'm aware that today's meant to blow your mind a little, hurt your head, and make you ask questions, and then hopefully you're going to do some homework in terms of exploring these tools.
Why iTero?
You know, speaking plainly, pick a scanner you like. I always say some people like Apple, some people like Samsung. It's fine. There is personal taste. For me, I have worked with all the 3 major players out there, and I've now moved to iTero. iTero is a very, very user-friendly scanner in of itself. But the screen, that was what sort of changed it. When we were consulting with that big screen, that was very impactful for patients when they were seeing their own problems on screen. Some of the other systems don't naturally come with a screen that's quite that dramatic. So that's another benefit.
Where do you store videos and digital conferencing?
Oh, great question. So yeah, it's really about Apple. So we've got like 10 or 11 or 12 work phones under an Apple account that we've created for our practice, and we have loads of folders in there for all of their clinical photography. So all of these I will then just copy across and dump in their own file, if you will. Okay, so again, that in itself is a homework task of gargantuan proportions, but for us it's essential. It's lovely to have all the patient's contacts in there, so I can speak to them directly instead of having to pluck out their details from the practice software. So yeah, that's where they will live.
Do you find patient demographic a barrier to going digital to this extent? Majority of my patients are elderly with limited IT skills. I have a scanner already.
Yeah, that's a fantastic question, and well observed. That once, you know, I've had some of my first ever Zoom calls with my members of staff over this period. So, you know, they've gone, oh, what do I do here? So if we're going to have challenges there, there's going to be a larger challenge in terms of training our patients, which is why I've talked about that 30 minutes at the start. You know, if you, at the very simplest, if you agree that digital consent is a must in terms of, you know, not giving people pens and papers, then you understand the first educational challenge will be teaching a certain demographic how to do that on their phone. I've got patients who say they don't have email accounts, or they don't use them unless it's an emergency. So we're going to have to text them when we send them an email so they'll look. So these will be challenges that your reception and comms team will face for sure, but it's, in my opinion, unavoidable. And obviously, this is just the push. You know, we always need a push to move forward, and this is an essential one. But very good question.
Is DocuSign accepted by defence organisations?
Yeah, it's very normal for our profession to ask those questions. What does the GDC say about it? What do these people? I'm sure you've seen during this crisis that they are not the first people to give us advice. They're often the last. Okay, and you know, in an innovative and changing landscape like this, it will be the same. I had an email just before I came on asking similar things. The reality is you need to adhere to the fundamentals that you know, that are the same with paper, and are, you know, is a consent process robust? Is it compliant? Is it good record keeping? You know, if it's doing all of those things, then it can only be an improvement. So hopefully that answers that. It's unlikely these bodies will be the ones to give us answers. The other thing I said in my email was that me and my digital colleagues are working on formulating policies and guidelines not dissimilar to the way FGDP did once upon a time for radiographic examinations. Okay, but in the meantime, just make sure they adhere to the analog versions of our basic, you know, guidance.
What costs are involved in installing software?
What software in particular?
It doesn't mention a particular software.
Quickly, so dental monitoring is effectively £10 a scan. If you're ongoing scanning an Invisalign patient, it's £10 a month, for example. But those fees are always less than it would have cost you to clinically see the patient in your surgery, for example. So the business case always pays off. The dental monitoring video app is 50 quid a month. An iTero you can get for 18k now, or sort of around 300 quid a month on finance. But trust me, you know, there's always been, even when I got my very first digital scanner, I did a business model on what I'd save on not buying impression material, because we don't have impression material or putty in our practice. So it always wins there, you know, before you even consider the other 7 arguments on staff and processes being deleted and things like that. So trust me, that it always pays off.
Just a question with regards to your storage on your computer. You must have an amazing computer system with a massive storage.
In the practice?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I think again, yeah, we do spend a fair bit on updating that, but like we said, a lot of the things that you've seen today are separate to the software system, not at the practice, and they're handled by the Apple Cloud, which Apple have an excellent privacy record and are most of the time the most expensive company on the planet. So I'm happy to trust them with that.
Last question. You mentioned that you and partners are doing all the consultations. How are you fitting associates into this? I am a sole practice owner with 3 part-time associates.
Yeah, that's a personal choice. So it's not that, and prior to this, I didn't do checkups. I haven't done checkups for quite a while. I just have this sort of gut instinct that that my patients would like to, you know, I think it's an important conversation to be had. So your business ought to decide who's going to have it. You know, you're going to have to tell them about the changes in PPE, the reasons for a lot of the changes that you're making. So I think we've always thought that conversations like that should happen one-on-one, not a blanket email that this is happening to you. And for those reasons, for us to invest that kind of time, for, let's be honest, it's 6 months, you know, to see all of our patients once and tell them the new practicing, you know, landscape just takes 6 months, you know, to have that conversation once with each of them. And I think that's a worthwhile investment of our time. And like I said, and I believe it, our patients over this period have been really good to us. They've stayed loyal. They've been, you know, and we owe them, I believe.
We have just had one more come in. How do you assess perio, e.g. BPE charting remotely and monitor changes in perio?
So yeah, no, you can't do a BP. So that's part of the clinical pathway that needs adding once the patient attends. From my checkup, if you mean the checkup model, which is a great question, and I have looked to the body's full guidance on this, and really, what you're doing is every time that what the BDA said is every time you do a checkup, you need to do a BPE if you're a dentist. So, but what I'm saying is we're changing the recall guidance to an annual exam for them. And then every time you see them annually, you will do the BPE. But when the hygienist sees them in isolation, they will, and they'll do their BP then. So you're not really changing anything in that respect. And the hygienist is still assessing when they see them, and could always feedback if needs be. So you're still adhering to, again, the same analog processes that we did before, not breaking any rules there. We're doing it the right way. But in addition, your dental monitoring does detect recession. The AI will inform you of recession, of inflammation, of poor OH, and it'll inform the patient as well. So it depends how far down that road you want to go. But yeah, and all of those reports and advice are recorded and compliant. You know what I mean? So yeah. Is that good?
And we just have one more just coming. If we do this last one.
Yeah.
Do you think working with therapists rather than associates is another way forward?
Rather than associates. Well, you know, I've shown 2 examples to be efficient. I'm not planning, and if any of my staff are listening, I'm not planning wholesale changes to the way our personnel work. And I think just the streamlined planning and preparation of the appointments, you know, so our clinicians will be moving from surgery to surgery when they're doing AGPs to keep them efficient. So I don't personally believe we need to do too much shifting around. I see, particularly in this first phase, the hygienists, hygiene therapists I'm going to keep them non-AGP. So they'll be doing the hand scales, doing the stabilisation with GIC if needed, that kind of, and they're going to be very, very busy with that because that'll take longer. And then the dentist sort of back to back with very well planned and orchestrated AGP sessions.
That's all the questions answered.
Good. Well, I've had a lovely time, and I thank you all for coming and listening and asking such great questions. I'll once again invite you to make contact with me, and yeah, hopefully that's ignited a few fires and a few ideas.